Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Lonchauskas. Today is the 29th of June 2018, so welcome to this last trading day, last trading session for this week. Yep, we're going to have a quick look at the few instruments that I've chosen to probably which I think that they are the most interesting ones to kind of have a look at in more detail. Maybe prepare yourselves like for next week to see how could we position our potential trades. But before we actually start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, just a very quick reminder of our JFD Brokers research page here, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis. We throw out different trading shoutouts, and of course we produce our daily analysis that we post every morning. So I hope you can find something useful for yourselves here, guys, but for now let's quickly have a look at the chart. So the first one I want to look at is the FTSE 100. Now today we're getting a bit of a boost here, certainly getting a nice move here to the upside. Now we can see that we have tested this downwards moving trend line here that has been running since around the 22nd of May, and we've tested that almost just maybe a few points away from it, but nevertheless around that area. Certainly currently we can see that the bears are trying to push it back towards this 21 EMA. The good question here for today is, of course, where is this going to close? Are we going to actually stay here above this 21 EMA, or actually this is going to drag all the way down again and we're maybe going to see a close or something like below this even 50 EMA? But certainly for now this is looking quite bullish. You can see that, yep, it's getting held here by this downwards moving trend line, but still for what I want to look at is the 4-hour chart, guys. So this is an interesting one. Now this is how we could potentially position ourselves maybe for next week. Right, so if we take a small little line here and draw it, we can see that we're still getting held here today by this upwards moving support line that's kind of running here since the 27th, and for now we are of course a little bit more bullish on the shorter term perspective. Certainly a very good area to watch is this one, the potential breakout area. If this of course continues to push higher and we make a test of this 77.10 area again, we could also test this downwards moving trend line, and eventually if we start seeing breaks here, well, I mean, this could change the game here and we could maybe start aiming for higher levels. But for now, be very careful. Certainly we still have Monday. Let's see how this is going to open up on Monday. If this, of course, for Friday, if this index is going to stay here at around this area, then, well, like I said, yeah, we should stay sharp a little bit here. But nevertheless, I mean, this is a very good, interesting area here for a potential breakout if this continues to push higher. Now this is somewhere probably could be an interesting entry point here. Of course, having your stop losses in place, that's the most important, guys. But for the stop loss, of course, we could maybe, if we enter a position here, then we could potentially have a small stop loss somewhere around this area right here. It's for those who are less aggressive, and if we do get a nice pop here to the upside, we could start aiming for these higher levels again. The 77.95 could be a very good area to watch as a potential target. Let me just highlight that for you guys. So the 77.95 could be a good target price for this one if we, like I said, if we see a nice break here through this downwards moving trend line. Of course, like I said, you always have your stop losses in place, and let's say if you are in profit here, always a good idea to put your stop loss straight away just slightly above the entry price. I mean, in order to kind of avoid all the losses. Certainly, if this is the point, this is of course could be our target price, but if you would see that there is a chance for this one to get broken as well, and maybe there is a chance for this one to continue pushing higher, then well, probably this is where it could start getting interesting, because we could end up moving higher here, and this is probably where the point where you would probably start taking your stop loss and lifting it a little bit higher here. So let's say if you're in profit already here, then yep, I mean, if we see a nice break here to the upside, we could start targeting this next area right here at around 79.08, which was approximately the high here that we had in May this year. So we could end up moving your stop loss a little bit higher, but of course for that we would need to see a strong, nice push here to the upside. If we suddenly get an alternative scenario, well, keep an eye on this little area right here. Just let me highlight that for you guys quickly. So this is the point where it could move a little bit lower here. Certainly, if we get a nice break here below the 76.34 mark, approximately there. Actually, let me just round it up here towards the 35 mark, so approximately there. Good area to watch. Break below that could send this index a little bit lower. Certainly first area to watch would be this 21 EMA. Now this is where this is the point where, if let's say if you get a break here, probably straight away put your stop loss just slightly below that, so that you would avoid all the losses. And yep, and we could end up aiming for this 75.50 mark, approximately there, for a nice test. Certainly keep a close eye on this one, because like I said, we could maybe see another sharp reversal back to the upside. So that's why I'm always telling you guys to keep your stop loss in place. This is what's in regards to the FTSE 100. Now let's quickly touch on a commodity, and the one that I wanted to look at is the Brent, and we can see that we are getting a nice push here. All this week we almost have been moving higher since we've broken it on the 26th. On Tuesday, yep, we continued to push higher here. There are some good levels to watch here on the upper side. I will actually start placing them once I click on the 4-hour chart, but before we do that, let's, like I said, at the moment this is looking a bit more to the bullish side rather than the bearish, and we could end up moving towards these highs that we had here recently in May, and that was around the 80.50 mark. So good area to watch. But first, let's say, like I said, let's zoom in a little bit into this chart, and we can see that yep, we had a nice move here today. We had a nice push towards the upper side of the Bollinger Band here on the 4-hour chart, and now we're a bit retracing to the downside. So continue monitoring this one. Like I said, at the moment this is looking quite bullish, and it's, I would say, I mean, it could be difficult to draw something here, to be honest, like a support line, because it's a bit of a mess here, let's say. So probably this is where the levels could kick in better, and we could maybe see this as a potential good area of support at around 77.15 mark. This is where, of course, could also see the 21 EMA approaching that level as well. I mean, by the time, let's say if it moves lower here and touches the 77.15, this is where it could also touch the 21 EMA. Also, keep a close eye on this level here higher, which this is the high that we had here in on the 31st of May, and that's approximately around the 79.15 mark. So good level to watch here. If we get a nice pop here to the upside, well, I mean, we could start aiming for these highs that we had in the highest point in May, let's say like that, so around the 80.50. So good area to watch. This is where probably where the this point right here, just let me highlight that this is where the buyers would get interested again, probably, and we, like I said, we could see them driving this this commodity towards this 80.50. Now on the downside, again, be very careful careful because we could see a bit of retracement here going a bit of retracement to the downside, let's say like that. And a good point to watch, a good level to watch that I just mentioned to you guys, this 77.15 mark. Now, because if you get a break here below, we could see this this commodity dropping a little bit, maybe just correcting for a bit and then reversing back to the upside. Certainly this is the range to watch right now, and these are the two levels, the key levels, potential breakout levels, where a break through either of the sides could dictate the further direction. Like I said, so if we get a nice break below the 77.15, we could start aiming for these levels here, around the 75.85. Certainly if you enter a position here, don't forget to put your stop loss. And if, let's say, once you're in profit, then yeah, quickly put the stop loss just before the entry. So keep an eye on this one, guys. And of course keep an eye on this higher level. Similar kind of idea applies to this one. Let's quickly touch on a few pairs, and the GBP USD would be the next one. And yep, moving higher today a little bit. We can see good news coming out of UK, pushing away from this 131 mark, and now we're currently trading at around 131.50. Certainly for us to kind of become more bullish on this one, we need to see a nice move back above the let me just zoom in, and here, guys, this is the level that we're watching here. Oh, there we go, the line. So approximately this area right here at around 131.85 mark. Good area to watch. Certainly if we get a nice pop here to the upside, we could end up pushing higher here in the shorter term picture, maybe even actually targeting this 133.15 as the next potential area of resistance, which also probably would coincide here with this 200 EMA. And this is, by the way, a 4-hour chart, guys. So good level to watch here, but only if we get a nice break here above the 131.85. Certainly if you are entering a position here, then keep your stop losses in place. Certainly something that you're very comfortable with. Don't overdo it. If, for example, in this scenario, the good stop loss could be this area right here at around 131, because if we do get a break here below, we could of course move lower here. Certainly we these are the levels to watch here at around 130.50, approximately there. A break below this area, to be honest, this is where we would be interested in going short, because a break below these lows that we had this week could maybe confirm further declines. So, but for now we're seeing a bit of recovery here. We can see that the 21 EMA is getting tested. So keep a close eye on the levels right here that I was just talking about, the 131.85. If this resistance area proves to be too weak to hold, well, we could push a little bit higher here again, but probably this is something for for next week. So continue monitoring today's close. Let's see what it wants to do with it. One more pair that I really wanted to touch on is the USD CAD. Now, this is what I was talking about in my previous videos this week, and I was talking about this little range here. Not going to jump into the daily, but straight away I'm going to have a look at the 4-hour, and we can see that we had a nice break here on the 28th, yesterday actually. So we had a nice break here to the downside. We saw that the rate managed to get back towards this area here, the 132.65, managed to test it, drop lower again, and tested at that level again today. And from where we can see that the rate kind of continued dropping, and currently it seems that it's going to aim for this 100 EMA shown here as the green line. Good level to watch, good target to watch, and that's around the 131.70. Probably for those who have missed this trade today, something to watch out for. It could be a potential test here of the 131.70, where the rate is going to probably stall a little bit. Maybe we could see a bit of retracement back to the upside, but to be honest, if the selling is actually strong today, and if this is going to continue selling off, then the next good area to watch is this 131.250, approximately there, which was around the highs that we had here in March. So this is a potential very good area of support. So if basically this area around the 100 EMA doesn't hold, and actually just to kind of point it out, guys, the 100 EMA is around the 131.65 mark, approximately there. We can see that here at this point in on the 18th of June, it acted as a good area, a good-ish area of support, let's say like that, and we could see like I said, the rate kind of stalling here a little bit. But like I said, if the selling continues, the next area, the short-term area to watch is the 131.250, and that is a very good area of support here, guys. If suddenly, let's say today, we reverse back to the upside, well, continue monitoring this 132.65, because if we suddenly get back above it and we suddenly get back inside to this inside this range, probably this is where the rate could kind of trade around a little bit going into next week before it decides which of the sides it wants to break. Okay, guys, I hope you found this useful. Please join me tomorrow. I just want to say tomorrow, Monday, on my Traders Espresso at 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock British Summer Time. So if you found it useful, I'm very happy. Please, like I said, join me on Monday. But for now, I hope you have a good US session for those who are continuing to trade. But for those who have finished already today, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you and hear you. Well, speak to you on Monday. Bye bye, guys.